Hey T, sorry this took so long. I'm gonna go ahead and get this video started for you. And as we watch the replay, I'm gonna go back and forth to get these moments where we can improve and really dive into them. And so, with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So as we watch this play here, the first thing I want to talk about is how we cheat. I like that we're doing this dead center. One thing that we can do from this position, whenever we drive and just kind of flip immediately, we're not really picking up any speed or any ground. We're kind of just losing efficiency in these movements by just coming in and, you know, driving up a little bit and jumping into the flip. If you notice, you're not going to pick up a lot of ground here. You might make it up to like this blue line, and that's kind of where. Well, even then, we made it to the pad. We can make this a little bit further by just driving up a little bit, picking up a slight bit of momentum, and then bouncing as we get to this zone to get past the pad with some pace. And the zone being like right below before the pad. But to be honest, as we cheat up, often in this situation, we can get to this play with enough time by just driving up. And so, as we do this, we could make up a little bit more ground just by staying low. Now, when we get to this zone here, this is good defense on the back wall because we're kind of making sure that this guy doesn't put a good dribble onto center, and if he does, then we're in position to challenge high. Basically negating the pass like immediately, right? But as we see that he's not getting a really good center, his best options to boom it off the wall or bang it, then we have to focus on the threat that comes after. And so in this position, we can see our opponent is in a shooting angle where he's going to put it into our net, and we're stuck on the wall, so we have to do the best that we can as we're defending this. And the best thing to do is to stay facing our net so that we can, drive into, boost into our net, and then just kind of jump off the wall and intercept the shot. In the case that we're not jumping, because we're not jumping to challenge this guy, he's going to do exactly what he wants and pass the ball. And so now that we're turning around, we're kind of committing ourselves to the play that's already in process, and so we're a little too late to it. The other thing we have to try to do is, as we get to this position right here, and this is almost perfect position to stop, but not quite, so I'm going to replay it here. As we get here, right, as we start driving this way, we have the time, because we're going to get this boost before this guy, which is our goal, right? And this guy's, they're kind of attacking from the same angle, so the wing is our pressure point. We need to know where our teammate is, specifically to find out if he's going to be a viable defensive option or if he's going to take a long time rotating back. And then we can make our call, whether we're going to play low defensive or play high defensive. Either way, because our teammate's going to take a long time, we can't really see him from this point of view. But if we look behind, we would probably see that he's probably getting that back boost or going kind of at this zone to pick up this side boost. And I can tell you this with confidence because as we take kickoff, we see him, basically committing, and that's going to drop him into this back zone. So he's likely going to get this back boost. And so at this point, once we get the boost, we need to, as we're getting the boost, we need to find out where he's at. That's going to make us more comfortable in making the decision that we're going to make. And by this point, we need to commit to basically blocking the shot that this guy's going to put, because this pass is going. You're not going to turn fast enough to get to that ball. You might be able to stay patient here as you were facing one way and try to jump to this ball. Risky. If you don't hit it, you get scored on. But you are the last hope of defense at this point, and so we need to prioritize neglecting this shot, like blocking it. And so defensive positioning is what's key here. Now, arguments can be made right here as you come to this boost. You can stay low. Again, you're kind of forced to consider where this guy's going to put the ball, because he could easily put the shot on target, right? And then we can stay low to defend. If we get a little high on this shot, then we're exposing a little bit more of the net than we need to. But as we see here, we're kind of, I think you read this well to expect this ball to come up here, and so this isn't necessarily a bad position. We could do better by staying low, but ultimately, like, when we make this decision, which is fine that we made it, we need to either commit to reading this guy and making the pass, or playing defensive, and we do neither, because originally we're committing to playing defensive at this position. We're committing to guarding our net, but then we make this decision to cut in way too late, and so that results in an easy open shot, because now we don't have any coverage on anything. I will say the best thing to do is often just play defensive, like as in with the options that you had in that previous play, is prioritize defending our net, because in that situation we weren't going to be able to really make that much of an effect on the pass, and so the best thing to do would be to play low and cover the shot that follows. Now, good cheat up here. I like that we didn't jump. You see how we're a little bit closer. The only thing that goes wrong here is that when we see this, this line, the midline, it indicates to us, who's closer to the ball, either our opponents or us. And since we know that this guy cheated, and the ball's rolling back into his side of the pitch, he has favorable possession of this, and so he's going to beat you to this ball more often than not. Now, we do manage to get here a little bit faster than than him in the sense of a way. Like he's faster than us. Obviously, he's up the wall, but we have the boost to kind of make up a little bit of ground. It's just that we kind of turn in a little too early, and so like right here, instead of turning, we could prioritize going up a little bit to get high on this ball and just kind of level our car with the ball, so that whatever touch he gets, we're close enough to just kind of jump out and block it, resulting in possibly an easy shot or just breaking the play that he's trying to make. We also have the boost. We could make an outplay after we make contact with the ball, but us turning in this early kind of puts us out of the play for whatever he wants to do, because he's more level to the ball than we are. we might have had the opportunity to stay level with him and kind of challenge up here, but because we turn in this early, we're at a disadvantage, and so he's going to beat us every time. Now, that's not the best play to make in this situation. Really, the best thing to do is as you see this, he's got you beat as far as his position to the wall versus ours, and the ball's rolling towards him. So the best thing to do is for us to get this boost and just kind of come back, because he's going to bang it. He's going to bang it regardless. Like, we can go up a little bit to the wall, but not too much to where we're committing, and so we're kind of just faking. Optimally, like if we're really looking at this, in game, we're gonna want to let it play up to here, and we're gonna get the boost, and then like right around this middle of the curve, we're gonna turn in. We're gonna use like drift and whatever boost we're using to turn and maintain momentum, so that we can then, zap dash off, or wave dash off rather, and then get back defensive posture fast enough, because you have to remember too that you didn't take kickoff. So at this point, our teammate is just probably getting boost or about to get boost in the play, and so he's not in a defensive position to make anything happen here. We're the last line of defense, and so as such, we need to play defensive, meaning that we have to get this boost and rotate back so that we can get to this shot in time, and then play, make another play. Keep the game going here. Now kickoffs, I will say one of the best things to learn is speed flips, but if we're not going to do that, we need to get some kind of either dash or jump into the ball early, so that we're not using all our boost, just to kind of get to the ball. So as we pick up this, if we can feather our boost here to pick up this pad, front flip, that'll make us land somewhere like over here in this circle area. And that's going to provide enough space for us to get to the ball fast, like speed to get to the ball fast, but then space to jump into the center of the ball. We want to target this ball on kickoffs, dead center. And we're going to hold our jump so that when we do make contact, now we can flip to the left or right. In this case, you got beat to it because your opponent was a little bit more centered than you were, and you were a little bit more left than he was. And so momentum-wise and force-wise, you weren't applying even pressure to the ball, and so he was able to beat you to it. Now, whenever we flip into a ball, we want to try to avoid sending it to this guy. And so if he's cheating up center, it's kind of a hard thing to read. So if you can communicate with your teammate, on the second flip, I'm going to put it to the right or left. That's the best thing to do. But if he was like over here, we want to send it away from this guy so that it makes it harder for him to get to the ball. And that's why we always say when you cheat up center, because as a kickoff taker, you're going to want to put it away from this guy. And if he's far left, it's easy for us to put it far right, and maintain possession or just make it harder for him to get to the ball. As opposed to him being center. Now, it doesn't matter where you put it. He's got 50-50 chance to get to it. At that point, it just determines on how much possession we maintain on the ball, and with what level of recovery we get to be able to get to the ball fast enough, or even where our teammate is, relative to the ball. If he's closer, then he's got possession. But that's how we keep possession away from their second man when they cheat up. This is a good rotation. At this point, this is a great opportunity to look around. Right here, we're taking kickoff, we're lining up a boost, and we know, from this point of view, kind of where our teammate is, and our opponents are. So as we progress, it's up to the right here. Like, our teammate has possession of the ball, but now we don't really know what the opponents are doing. We kind of lost visual on the second man about a second or two ago, and we just lost position on first man, a second ago. So given that our teammate has secure possession, we have a lot of time here. There's about 3 seconds that we can really gauge where these guys are so that we can play the space that they leave. And it's a fundamental of rotation. What you're doing here is really good. You're kind of behind your teammate when he has the ball driving up the wing. You're creating some level of space. This is pretty wide space, so you're kind of expecting a fast pass, and then you're closing it in as you see the play develop. And so your teammate, takes a quick shot because I think he sees Ballack out of position, but we don't really know where the second man is. And if he's back post, then it's going to make it a little bit harder for us to make a play. Now, as we get to this point, there's no reason for us to turn away, at least to this level. Like, we could turn to the left. And we probably would be able to do this a lot more comfortably if we saw where blind mag was in this position, because as we get to here, this is a little too far, but as we get to here, right, we can see that we can take the time to see, we can take the time to look, and we'd probably spot the second opponent getting that back corner boost. And now we see a little bit more that he's not back post. We can stop right here. Like, we can just kind of let go of the gas for a little bit, let the play develop. And even if we don't let go of gas, just kind of keep your car facing the left would be the smart play here. And this would be a lot easier to make had we, had we seen where blind mag was attacking this ball from. But since we don't really know this is a hard, decision to make. But the key to this is really just looking. And so had he, done that, then we'd be able to attack this, but also stay in this position where we could easily cut in and take the shot. Now, all that said, we could also just kind of play it. We can also just kind of play it a little patient here. Just kind of hit the brakes a little bit, slow our car down. There's a possibility of this shot going into the corner right here. There's a possibility of this guy catching it and sending it to the left. Or again, the possibility of what actually happens, it rolls up, and at least, facing the left corner or facing up, facing left, would allow us to quickly turn in as opposed to making a whole U-turn to get to this ball. And as we do this, as we do make this turn, we want to make sure that we're using drift so that we can make it faster. Speed is key in these types of situations where we have the opponent's defense on the back foot. The ball's, you know, kind of being centered, and they're needing to make a quick adjustment to get to it. Often you'll see players like these right here panic, where you know, they may clip the post, or they may just go at this ball a little awkward and whiff it. All things considered, though, good shot attempt. He was in a good position to block that. And then this is great. You know, we maintain pressure. We notice that our teammate is coming up. This guy just whips the ball, and now we have the opportunity to turn onto it. I think you're doing great about giving your teammate space and whatnot. And so maintaining this rotational pressure is going to give you these opportunities where, like, maybe the first shot doesn't go in, but at least we have second shot opportunity, or third or fourth, what have you. You know, it's all on pressure. Right here, we as we cheat, we don't want to jump from this far on a ball that's going away from us, because we don't have a really good shot like this. No matter what we do from this position, unless we're like up close, we can't really hit this spot well enough. And I'm talking about the bottom right here on the ball, so that we can put it into their net, because this is really where we want to hit it, like on the right side. But there's no real comfortable angle for us to shoot this from. And so this is a low percentage shot where, you know, the net's really open, but our angle of attack is kind of poor. And so we're you know, just kind of making this shot harder for ourselves. And it's not so much the angle. Like this, you can make it happen. The issue is that this ball's going away from us, and we're kind of diving at it from, you know, 20 yards out. You know, it's too far. It's too far for us to comfortably make to it and put any direction or power. And as this ball gets further and further away and further into the corner, this angle that we can shoot at is going to close and close and close, so that it makes it really hard for us to take the shot comfortably and really make it. So ultimately what we end up getting is a poor touch that goes into the center. We give possession away because, you know, he played patient and staying low, and all we can really do is get this boost and maybe try to get to this ball and pass it there behind this guy, but this is a very difficult thing to do. So the best thing that we could do in these situations is, as this ball is going back, we need to recognize that Ballack is out of the play, and Landmag's kind of going to have to make an uncomfortable save, you know, if he decides to go for this ball. So staying grounded is going to be key here. Staying grounded so we can drive around Ballack and put pressure on Landmag. And we can either, you know, bump or demo, and then this ball is going to land somewhere in this zone where we can just get a first touch and play it into the net, or you know, maybe bang it off of the corner here for our teammate to get the pass. But that's going to require some coordination with you and your teammate. If you guys can communicate, that'd be great. Otherwise, you need to keep an eye on where he goes as you follow this ball, so that, you know, he can rotate and come in and be a shooting option, you know, passing option in the lane. Which it does look like he attempted to do. It's just that you know, he was too far from the play to really make anything happen, so then he rotates defensive, and that's really good on him. Good patience, good composure on defense. A lot of people dive on that. It's not what you want to do. And then good shot. I mean, it just, you know, this allows you for a quick counter. As we start to progress in the ranks, the pace of the game is going to get faster and faster. And so, whenever we see this situation, we have to do analysis, whether it's safe to commit to this ball and go in directly, or if it's best to just kind of play patient on the back post. In this case, you're kind of beat to the ball in this direction, so you did a good analysis, but we kind of, you know, we almost overcommit and go front post. So we catch it early, and we you know, back up a little bit, but really the best thing to do is kind of just lay off the gas, maybe hit the brakes a little bit, and stop yourself earlier, so that you can sit comfortably in that position where you're covering the front of the post, allowing your teammate to rotate back post, and then you have solid composure on the ball defensively. But again, this was a great shot, and you see how, whenever you're playing this here, you maintain control. You have less distance to the ball than your opponent does, but he kind of overcommits to the wing. This is a big mistake on his part, because now he's trying to fake it, right? He wanted to commit, but he fakes too deep, and so now he's caught on his back foot with his ball with power because you were just too close to it for him to be able to defend it. This is a great recognition of this, because now we're putting a power shot and we're putting it past him, and there's no way for him to catch it. I like the zap dashes, or wave dashes rather, that you do here. This is a very good mechanic to start implementing, recovery-wise. As you do this, when you land here, you need to start just using that boost, or sorry, not the boost, using drift, because that's going to allow you to maintain momentum on anything you do, even if you mess up the mechanic. And so having that is gonna give you a little bit more speed. Things to note here: as we get beat to the ball, you did good to kind of play the defensive angle from the wall, and then applying pressure here is good. We're getting in a good good shooting lane for the pass. That was a good shot. Just unfortunate that he was right where you put it. We could play this a little bit faster, but even here, this is another great opportunity to stay grounded. You can pick up another foot or two and get to this ball a little bit better. But this is one of those situations where you have to get comfortable with reading with how much power this pass is coming. And so by the time he passes it, we can see that the ball's kind of starting to plateau and trail down, meaning that this ball is losing momentum. So it's going to come at a relatively slow pace and kind of bounce out in this area where it's going to be kind of close to the wall. So, using that information, we can get to the ball a little bit more comfortably if we're closer. So in these situations, once we see this ball bouncing up, the best thing to do is just, if you're gonna run backwards, if you're gonna drive backwards, you want to do a half flip. Don't kind of drive into your net and U-turn. If you're gonna do this though, then you got to drift. But the other thing to note, at this point, we can see that our teammate recovers nicely and he's gonna follow this ball. Also, this ball's gonna go with too much pace for it to be a viable shot into our net. So we're safe here. And the best thing to do is rotate, right? Because we can comfortably get a little bit more boost, pick up a pad or two, and rotate back post. We'll still be in this defensive position, but now we'll be with more boost. The other benefit of doing this is that as we see this, right, we're kind of in a dead stop, and not the optimal position to defend, the backside of our net from being inside in the middle. Had we rotated, we'd be in a better defensive posture, but we'd also have enough momentum, as we drive, to that, then kind of get to this ball, maybe put a challenge. Is it a good idea? Probably not, because, it really varies on how much momentum we carry and how well we can read this ball to close the distance really fast. But, just an option that we might have had we just rotated and kind of driven a little more instead of being just at a dead stop inside our net. Good patience, good read on the defense here, and good touch, good attempt on the shot. So I want to say, in these situations, you'll often find yourself having a lot of space with the ball, like right here. Perfect moment to see this. There's no pressure. I mean, if we look behind, we'd probably see this back guy, the second man, the opponent. I guess first man in this situation. He's kind of a lost, and in the corner, he's probably going to get some boost and rotate back. And this guy's already committing to going back, and so we can let this ball go. We can let it roll. We can then get ourselves in a better position to make a play with this. And as we do this, we can also see that, you know, he does exactly what we think he's going to do and rotates. This is a great opportunity right here to kind of look down as we chase this ball, because we know where this ball's going to go. We're just going to go up the wall and, you know, kind of right here. And so, you know, now we're seeing where he's at, but we could have seen this a little bit earlier, and we could have driven this and seen where our teammate is. More importantly, right? There's a lot of space to put this pass here, and so opting for this pass play is going to result in more goals than us shooting it from this deep, because from this deep they have a lot of time. You know, we're not going to be able to put a lot of power, and even if we do, we're not going to be able to get enough speed to, you know, have it really like drill it into the net almost instantly. So the best thing to do is try to catch him a little bit off guard by putting a pass into the zone. Our teammate can then put a good shot, you know, a better shot than we can, and you know, may result in a scoring opportunity. Now, yeah, you got beat here for sure. Like, you probably weren't going to get to this ball anyways. But in situations like this, where like this ball's kind of going a little bit slower, you want to stay grounded. I think we're doing a lot of this diving from deep, like this right here. It's where we're way too far to get to this ball. And as this ball rolls, we may have a chance to cut in and save it. That really is going to require us to stay low and kind of cut the angle a little bit, so that whenever it does roll in this situation right here, we might have been able to be just behind this ball with a touch. I'm not saying he probably would have gotten the save. I'm just saying there's a possibility there, right? So anytime that this ball is like this, like there's always this possibility of it's just kind of going in a straight line and slowly going into our net. And so with that in mind, we always want to stay as low as possible with you know, whenever we have time to do so. You know, it just increases our odds. Like they may not be great odds, but even a little bit, you know, like 10% more efficiency would help us, right? So right here, this is a risky play, risky dive, because, you know, we're committing to this. If he plays it over us and we're leaving our teammate in a 2v1 situation, the best thing to do is to fake this challenge and rotate. Like, just fake this challenge and shadow. Just fake this challenge and shadow. You're beat to this ball. You have to recognize these situations. You have to recognize when you're beat. And if you're beat, there's nothing you can really do outside of reading like how you did. But the safest option is to fake the challenge, so that, you know, we could drive up here, fake it, and then turn real fast. If we do that, this guy's going to bang it the same way he did it anyways. And now he gives up possession of the ball. And now we have a better chance at, you know, stripping the ball, taking possession, and making a play ourselves. Right here, when we do this, we're kind of cutting rotation. So right here, we're in the play. Now we're out of it. Now we're out of the play. Now we're done. Right. This guy's gonna get a touch. If we can read this touch, because he's gonna get a poor touch. The way to read this is gonna be, you know, dependent on the rate of this ball falling, this circle here, and this guy's position from this point, based on the way that he's, you know, falling. And we saw this already because we saw the replay. But based on this information, there's a high possibility it's gonna come to this zone, which it does. And so, being that said, we could have picked up boost, being a little bit more efficient with our movement. Instead of cutting in so deep, we could have come here. And then we got this guy beat to the ball. Right? We could come in, cut to this point, try to catch it around this area, put a quick pass to our teammate into the line, and then he shoots it, and it's a goal because we're catching them on their back foot. The other thing we could do here, now recognizing that our teammates got better, you know, possibilities with this ball than we do. We also recognize that this guy's beat, and he's leaving. Just go bump him. Try to cut him off over here. Get him off the play. Now we're leaving, we have a better option to go for a 2v1 situation. And it's only possible because, we're from this angle as he's driving out. Our teammate can get to this ball before our opponent behind us. And so now we take this guy out. It's a 2v1 situation. We can win it. Good shot. This works because they're out of boost and they're kind of on their back foot as they're defending this or panic. We don't put the greatest shot on, but we put it in the right place to where they can't reach it. So this works. Just know, like, in the future, as we make this play, like, this guy's rotating into the ball, we got to rotate out. This will make it a lot easier. And in the higher ranks, you're not really gonna be able to get this shot off a lot, because even if you get it past the first guy, the second guy's gonna be, playing smart defense, and he's gonna be able to get to it. This is a good example because you did drive a little bit more before you jump, I think. Oh, not really. We want to drive a little more so that we can pick up pace, but good cheat. I mean, you caught them lacking, and so then we get a shot on. Overcommitment is often what really beats us in our defense. I know we have this is kind of what we call an ego challenge. They got possession of the ball, and now we're just going in, with all the commitment in the world. But because he's got possession, he can put any touch he wants and play it into space. And he does this perfectly. And then as we dive, we commit. We're kind of easier to beat than had we stayed grounded. Seriously, like, this is where you can improve the most. If we can stay grounded and fake these challenges, we're gonna have the same effect, but we're gonna maintain ourselves in the play. We're gonna have them get rid of the ball into this zone, and as we come in, we fake it. We're able to collect it where they leave it, because these guys are they're expecting you to challenge this. They're expecting you to come in. They're not expecting you to fake this. And so if we can catch them off guard, if we can fake this more often, we can win these balls and make it easier for us to score, because there's more opportunity in us staying in the play than committing and getting outplayed. This also will eliminate the chances of your teammate ending up in this awkward 2v1 situation, and just eliminate the scoring opportunities for your opponent. Another thing, like right here, we can improve on this here. Two things we can do. Like, once we get to this point, we can look and see where our teammate is. If he's like back here, as he has been doing, then he's a passing option. But he's also like going to be cheating up on the cheat line, and he's coming up with you, basically, where he can get to the ball if you make this mistake here. And then once we make it here, like, we get off ball cam, this ball's behind us, we need to commit to bumping this guy. This is the best thing to do. Doesn't matter if he leaves the ball here, because our teammate's behind us and he's going to get to it before this guy. But if we get this bump, we buy him time. Instead of scrambling to try to collect it, it's such a difficult thing to do under pressure, especially when the ball's behind you. Then this play becomes more of a, I'm bumping him out of the play, the ball stays flat, and my teammate can then put a quick shot on or something. This creates scoring opportunities. Now then, as we progress in this play here, let's just abandon it, because our teammate is still back there. We need to look at him. We need to be able to confirm that he's there, so that we're not getting this poor touch and then outplaying our teammate. Now he's caught out of position, you're caught out of position, and we're on a fast break where we have to play super defensive. This is where the panic comes from. These small little decisions and mistakes that we make, they start to cascade, one leads to another, and then we're caught on our back foot, and we start having defensive holes. They get exploited, and we're panicking, and now every mechanic that we can comfortably make is less comfortable because we're doing it under pressure. And so, like, recovery there, we couldn't really recover well because we're under so much pressure of the shot that's coming up that we just can't pull it off comfortably. So little things like that, from not bumping, not seeing where our teammates are, is what leads us to making mistakes, making poor choices. Even here, this is another example. Let's ask ourselves, like, as we make these plays, what value are we offering, right? Right here, your first man, you're still offering value to this play. There's still potential, right? There's still something we can do here. As this ball gets touched into the corner, now we don't really have anything we can offer. Our car is turned the wrong way, as opposed to where this ball's going. There's nothing we can really do from here. The best thing to do in these situations is continue to drive up and try to get this bump or demo. Get this guy out of the play. Open up the net. Make this guy make a mistake. Instead, we're diving into this ball where we really shouldn't. Like, our teammate has this covered, and we're going to see this because of this. You see his position? He's got this ball in his pocket, man. Had we taken this guy out, this guy could put a quick shot. Our opponent's caught in the corner. All he's got to do is slide it to the left. And even if we, demo this guy, we're going to find ourselves in this opposite end on the left side. And if he misses or he puts the pass onto you, then we can put an easy goal. It's these little positional, advantages that we can gain from just trusting that our teammate is there. Confirming that he's there is going to make this better. But if you have a little bit of trust that your teammate is rotating like he has shown you this whole game, then we can then play off of that, play off ball game, bump, demo, get into this passing lane, and then open up the possibilities for our teammate so that it's not so much just one dimensional. We're not putting pressure from the same side. We're now opening up the pitch. We're putting ourselves in a passing lane and making it easy for our teammate to have options, because once we're over here and we get this demo, it's a 2v1 situation. This guy can either shoot it straight, or we can catch our opponent lacking and just kind of committing too much to either one of us, to where there's just so many scoring opportunities for us to have here. It's just, we have to find ourselves in those positions, like make the right choice, and awareness is going to help you a lot with that. Awareness is one of the big things that nobody really talks about. I like this effort. We go for a pinch. As we go for pinches on the wall here, seeing that this is kind of going up the wall, we're kind of coming in too early. But as we do this, we have to recognize that the ball's going to go to, back right, like to the right over here, from our perspective. And so we need to approach it from the right so that we can pinch it on this, last fourth, last sixth of the ball here. If we get this zone, we get this pinch. Now it's a counter play. But because we got it so flat in dead center, this ball just has there's no dispersion of the force that we're applying. And so, it's all even. It's all even on dead center of the ball as you make contact with the wall. There's just no pinch here. And then as we come here, staying a little bit more composed, we kind of saw the opponents on this side. We know that the opponents on the back side, we don't need to flip into this ball. We can comfortably just kind of drive up to it, pass it to our teammate, and begin the counterplay. But now we're kind of forcing an awkward pass that, if our teammate misses, it's ultimately a shot on our net, and that's just not going to feel good. In this game mode, you have a lot of time. That's a good demo. In this, like in twos, right, we have a lot of time with the ball. We have a lot of space, especially early on in the ranks. And so, we're able to make these touches more comfortably and just take our time, a little bit more time with them. Not to sound like a broken record, but as we see this play progress, we can stay grounded. Right here, It wasn't a bad movement. I mean, we're getting, like right here, I wouldn't say this is efficient movement, but this is good movement. What we wanted to do in this situation is really line up and get this boost first so that we can stay in this pocket right here to stay in the play. This right here from this position, we can shadow. When we shadow, we want to stay kind of parallel to our opponent, but we also want to cut the angle a little sharper than they can so that we can effectively cover all net and just, you know, limit their options as we close the distance between us and the ball. And so had we gotten boost here, perfect right here in the zone, we could stay looking at the ball. We can even play this a little bit aggressive and push for it. But the best thing to do is, you know, just kind of stay grounded here. Now we don't get boost. We have to recognize that at this point we have no shot at making a touch on this ball before they do. And so, you know, as we turn into it, we can analyze their touch. It's poor. But had we gotten the boost and stayed kind of in this position, we'd be able to do all of this and be in a better spot to, you know, make this challenge. And so now we're coming at it. You know, we also need to recognize that even though this guy gets a poor recovery, he's landing so close to the ball that we're not going to get to this ball before he does. And so jumping from here, it's going to do nothing for us but overcommit us. So big tip, seriously, just stay grounded a little longer. As much as possible, really. I mean, you're going to find that you have a lot more time than you think. And it's all just, we don't want to hesitate, but we don't want to, you know, just commit really, really fast to things that we shouldn't. And so staying grounded is going to give us those options. Good clearance. This is a good opportunity for you to just maintain pressure on this ball. This is a great attempt at this play. Had you pulled this off, it would have been nuts. You bounced it over the opponent, and then, you know, you have an easy shot on net. You get back. You're not like offensively rotating ball side here. This is still okay because once you get to like this boost pad is when you want to cut in this boost pad right here so that you can pick up, you know, as much as you can. But your teammate has possession, and so it kind of gives us more time to make this rotation. And you know, I understand why you cut it in a little early because, you know, now we're trying to take charge. The other thing here, though, like you have to remember, again, looking at the field, is what is our opponent doing? Is he turning into this? Because if he is, we need to cover net. And so as you're off the ball, you know, this is a good opportunity to make this quick little look. You know, the rear view cam. We know this guy's coming up. We can avoid him, but we don't know where the other guy's at. And so if our teammate's passing it or losing control, we need to be able to know, do we have time to, you know, is this a counter play? Is our opponent bailing and giving us a lot of space and time? Or is he right in the middle of the pitch and ready to take the shot? Because at that point, we need to focus on covering net and more so, right? It kind of does. And so, you know, we make a good choice by going into net instinctively, right? But we don't really know if it's the best choice. And to do that, we need to know where they are. So right here, as we see this, you know, we bang it. This is a good opportunity for us to put pressure. Our teammate's rotating back, and he's making this really evident to us. There's no reason for us to rotate with him. There's better opportunity if we maintain pressure, apply pressure on these guys. Again, we don't necessarily need to overcommit on it. We can fake it. We just have to be up here. We have to be in this pocket, in this zone, so that we make it uncomfortable for them to, you know, gauge how much time and space they have. Because if they're looking at you and they're looking at all this space and they're realizing like, oh, we have time to like really collect this ball, get boost, and then do whatever we want with it. I think your teammate also kind of recognizes, and now he cut in to apply pressure, and then, you know, we end up in a double committing situation because now both of you guys are committing. One of you doesn't have boost, but, you know, like this guy kind of knows that we need to put pressure, and so we have to be able to get there. We have to maintain there so that it buys our teammate time to get boost and then get back into the play, but it also like makes it difficult for our opponents to do anything with the ball. good movement and good way to use the off ball cam to confirm our teammates, pressures that he's gonna apply, so that we can rotate. Right. That was really good. We just need to do more of that. This is tricky, right? This is where we need to. At this point, we can analyze this from here on out. This ball's going into our corner. Our teammate's there, but he might be already at this point caught out of position, like ahead of the ball. Mbalik and this guy are on the wing, applying pressure from the same side. And as we close this distance, we're kind of overcommitting. Like, we are overcommitting. It's not even kind of. We're overextending ourselves. We're leaving too much of this back post open. And Balak is recognizing this, and so now he's getting in a position to take this pass from him so he can put it right behind you. We need to play patient up until the point where we can't play patient. Let's break that down a little. As we get to this back post, we can stay here a little bit longer, because as this play progresses into the corner, there's no threat right now. Our teammate is somewhat uncomfortable, but he's on the ball, and so he's not going to put a shot on you. This isn't the shooter. This guy might be the shooter, but even at this angle, if we're in this position, we're effectively covering everything we need to cover if he's shooting this ball from this point, because we can quickly get to the front, and we can quickly cover a shot on the back, because this angle is so narrow from the ball side perspective. If you can take some time to get into the free play and just drive up the corner and look at the net and see how much of this angle is shootable. Like, see how much of this net. Just look at it. Look at how it closes as we approach the corner. There's less threat from this point. All the threat that comes here is from this pass that comes into Balak. Like, that's most of the threat right there. And as we close into front post, that threat extends in the back. It's less evident here from the ball side perspective because we have it covered, but our back is completely exposed. And so, I get it. You want to commit to this, but our teammate is still there. He's not rotating, and so not an optimal challenge. Whenever we play defense, we want to, and really the whole game, we want to keep eyes on our opponents, because if they catch us on our blind side, then they can demo us, they can shoot behind us, they can do a lot to us. And it's also going to make it hard for us to make the right decisions. Like right here, we're not really recognizing that we have more time, and we're taking a really uncomfortable shot. Can you make this shot? Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you were a little bit further up and faster, you could get to this ball. But is it a comfortable shot for you? You have to ask yourself, yeah, I can shoot the ball, but is this a good shot? That's the separating point from diamonds to champ and higher. Or really champ 1 and higher. Like, everybody can take this shot. But is it going to be a good shot? Is there more opportunity if I stay low and, close the distance to the ball? That's the question that you start asking yourself as you start playing the higher ranks, because if you can do that effectively and you can keep eyes on everybody, you're going to make the right decisions, and you're also going to be in the play a lot longer than you have been. Another opportunity here is once we whiff this ball, let's keep eyes on the front guy and bump him, because he's coming to demo you. But we can still kind of, as we land, we can kind of prioritize bumping him to keep him from the ball, buying our teammate time. I want to say, if you guys are teammates and you can communicate this is I like this vision, because it's almost like you're attempting to play it into the space where you can pass it to your teammate. It requires some communication and just vision from both of you guys. But overall, I mean, that was a right idea. Had he committed to receiving this pass. Um, of course, now we're defenseless. As we look at this, we could have gotten a better touch into the space. I think we did good to be patient. I think it's just like right here as we're approaching this ball, just kind of reading it a little bit better. We don't always need to flick to this shot. Like, we don't need to flip into it. We can just jump up to it, touch it with our nose, and play it into space comfortably. But as we air roll and stuff, we start making it a little bit more complicated, and it just comes to a point where it gets really hard to make the play. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. There's little risk as there's 5 seconds left, but also, like, if we didn't make this, that they're gonna kill the play essentially. So doing this gives us an opportunity to shoot. Yeah, good choices. Good choices. So in this play, as you you try to catch it, you don't get it. Now this ball is rolling up, right? And it's gonna bounce on the corner. We don't need to flip into this. Like, we can just kind of jump and touch. All we really need to do is make this guy commit and miss the ball, and this threat is completely nullified. We buy our teammate time, what have you, everything else included, right? But when we start flipping into this ball, whether it's on the wall or on this corner, we're essentially passing it. Like, you see how this ball came out with pace. Now Bala can reach it, try to read it or whatever. Blind Mag can be here and probably make this pass really fast. Like, there's just so many opportunities right here for our opponents to score, simply because we gave it too much power and we put it into a center position. So as we make touches into the corner, we want to put them soft. As we make touches into our wall, we want to put them soft, so that the pass option, there's no pass essentially. We're not just recklessly passing the ball. Good shot, good pass on your teammate too. And what I was saying though is, like, the more we can limit that, the less opportunity we give our opponents to score. And that's really the key to defense, right? Is to take away their opportunities. I think overall you did really good. I think, like I said, man, just patience, having a little bit more composure on offense and defense, gonna go a long way for you. And just looking around more, because that's gonna help you make the right decisions. It's also gonna help you see how much space you have in the lower ranks, whether it's Champ 1, Diamond 2, Diamond 3, Plat, what have you, like all of that. There's so much space that is provided there. And if you're making that push from Champ 1 to Champ 2, that's really what separates everybody. It's the decision making. It feels like everybody's just really smart and consistently making the right choices, but it's not because of the game experience. It's not because they just instinctively know where everybody's at. It's because they're looking around and seeing and confirming where everybody's at, and so they can play the ball into space and make the right choices more often than not. And that's why we see speed and consistency in the higher ranks. It's just because they're confirming everything and making the right choices off those confirmations. It just allows them to play faster and more consistent. So that's all I got for this video. If you wanted me to do another replay analysis on another game that you sent, I can do that. Just let me know. But I think I'm with this game right here. This is like, we're getting a lot of these little details. A lot of good examples, so that we can improve here. Like, this is very we can easily improve on what we saw here, and that alone will take you to a much higher rank. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions or anything that you want to ask regarding mechs or anything like that. Then we can also look at another video for that.